Now, more than 70 Russians and a number of Belarusian citizens have been evacuated from Gaza. They have arrived in the Jordanian capital of Amman, where a Russian emergencies ministry plane is preparing to take them to Moscow. Hundreds of Palestinians still remain at the checkpoint, trying to get into the West Bank. Food and water supplies are running low amid fears of a humanitarian crisis. Our correspondent Paulus Lear was at the border.
Finally, after being in the dark for days, Anna Taza and her children can see the light at the end of the tunnel. After 1.5 years of living in Gaza, the last week of violence finally convinced her enough was enough, and her children's future lay in their motherland.
During the past 3 days it was absolutely quiet, but the question now is what will happen next week. It could be the quiet before the storm. They could start a war with Israel or build up gangs. It's dangerous and I'm afraid. That's why I'm coming back.
The weather in Karelia, her home province, is probably not as hot as the weather in Gaza. But the heat of the situation here convinced Anna and other Russian citizens to leave Gaza to their memories.
We thought we could live in Gaza, that maybe something would change in the order of things here, but it didn't work out. We left everything, our work, our home, everything.
But not all was lost for Anna. She was able to bring her husband and 2 children with her. Dozens of other Russian women have been forced to remain inside Gaza. Their husbands don't have Russian papers, and the Israelis refuse to let them through. Others decided at the last minute not to leave. No one's sure exactly how many still remain inside Gaza, but what is clear is if there is more violence, there will certainly be another wave of refugees. Russian diplomats haven't ruled out the possibility of another evacuation.
Probably, if it will be because some people was late. See, I can tell you the example. Today we have received 2 calls from Russian women that told us that we have decided to evacuate. We cannot do nothing because the Israeli authority, they asked us to send them all the paper a few days before. And in the last moment we cannot do nothing.
On the other side of the border, hundreds of Palestinians have been waiting for days for permission to cross. But many don't have the right papers, and the Israelis fear among them could be wanted terrorists. So far, only foreigners and emergency cases have been let through.
It's unexpected turnover for everybody. We are trying to be constructive. We are trying to help.
Amid the clamor to get out of Gaza, the guards at Erez border crossing were surprised when 4 Palestinians arrived wanting to get in. Mohammed Yazigi was in Cairo on business when Hamas took over last week. He says Gaza is the only home he has.
This is my country, my home. My family is there. Why should I come to be outside? I have to return back to Gaza to continue. Life will continue.
You're not afraid?
No. Why should I?
But for Anna and her family, there are no regrets. The only pictures of Gaza they now want to see are those on their television screens and not outside their window. Paulus Lear, Russia Today, at the Erez crossing on the Israel-Gaza border.
And Nikolai Sergeyev, an independent analyst, says Russia, the EU and the U.S. should work together in resolving the humanitarian and political problems faced by the Palestinian Authority.
We have 2 sides which are outside of the conflict. The first side is Western powers, including the United States, versus Russia. United States are supporting one side, Russia another one. It seems to me that this approach is totally wrong. There should be what I would call a joint position. The cornerstone of some of this position should be one approach, and basic elements of such approach could be cut financing, military supplies, first one, and sponsorship of foodstuff supply, medicine supplies, and so on and so forth. And the international community should undertake one political position toward this conflict.
And staying in the region, Israel has fired 2 missiles into northern Gaza, killing at least 4 militants. The Israeli army says it was in response to Hamas missile attacks on the town of Sderot in southern Israel.